What if Russia collapsed before World War I? A topic not very seen aside from these two videos I found. But how does this happen? And how can I make an interesting scenario? Before I start, I would like to apologize for the long delay. I was sleeping on the video, and then I was like, oh yeah, it's been a month. So sorry for the delays, and I hope you guys enjoy the video. Well, what does before WW1 mean? It could mean 1721 to 1913. However, for simplicity, I will have it take place in 1900. Germany begins funding separatist groups in Russia, and even begins funding people like Lenin before WW1. Whether the German High Command would do this, I am not sure. They did it during WW1, so it would make sense if they could do it before. Now, onto the other most important part, the Russo-Japanese War. In our timeline, Japan won the Russo-Japanese War and got a few things from it, like Sakhalin, Port Arthur, and expelling Russia from Manchuria. However, territorially, they didn't lose that much. So what if Japan performed better? These may be the peace deals if Japan did better. Well, you may be thinking, how does Japan do better in this timeline? What if the Russian High Command was more incompetent and the Japanese High Command smarter? I know it's cheap to say that, however, for the scenario, let's just go with it. In our timeline, Russia lost between 40,000 to 70,000 soldiers, which then led to Bloody Sunday, which then led to the 1905 revolution. However, in this timeline, since Japan was smarter and Russia dumber in the war, the Russian casualties would be higher and Japan's lower. And maybe the 1905 revolution happens earlier. This is important because after the 1905 revolution in our timeline, Russia was a bit unstable. However, because of the better Japanese victory and the earlier and worse 1905 revolution, stability in Russia would be way lower. This and the earlier mentioned German meddling in Russia creates the perfect scenario for a Russia collapse. Now, onto the final part for a Russian collapse. The story is really long, so pretty much this guy wants to kill his guy in this place. But that guy was with the Tsar. And in real life, that guy was shot in front of the Tsar. However, maybe because of the incompetence of the Tsar, the guy is given different orders on who to shoot or just misses. Since the Tsar died, two governments can take control in Russia, a regency council with the Tsar's brother as regent, or the Provisional Government or Duma with maybe Stolypin as leader. However, whoever takes power in Russia won't be able to stop the collapse. You see, the Tsar, the guy that was killed in this timeline, had a personal union with Finland. However, with the guy dead, Finland can choose to not recognize either of the possible governments and declare independence, with the other Russian minorities also declaring independence. And maybe a communist civil war too. I say maybe because Lenin isn't too common at the time. The map would probably look like this, with maybe a small communist revolt in St. Petersburg, maybe a big one, or maybe no communist revolt at all because of lack of support. However, to make an interesting scenario, let's say the communists do start a revolution in St. Petersburg. You may be thinking, how does he rest the work to react to this? Well, let's focus on how Germany reacts to this first. Germany can try to puppet all of the people revolting, however, to not make Germany too strong. Let's just say Germany successfully manages to puppet Poland and Lithuania. Thinking about it now, this scenario is pretty bleak for the Entente. France can't beat Germany in a direct 1v1. However, an important thing to mention is that by Poland and Ukraine revolting in Russia, the Poles in Germany may revolt and even cause a Silesian uprising. However, I believe Germany is strong enough to put these revolts down. Austria-Hungary, on the other hand, if they let Hesse revolts get out of control, they could collapse. However, I believe Germany would help Austria-Hungary defeat their revolts. However, I still think he is a good chance that Austria-Hungary could still collapse. But for simplicity, let's say that they defeat these revolts. Well, what now? The world would be very tense since this Russian collapse would start in 1911. However, despite this time would pass without a major war, I still think Franz Ferdinand would still get shot though, and Austria-Hungary would still declare war on Serbia. France unfortunately can't do anything about that either. And I think that Serbia may surrender without a support from a major power. Well, why wouldn't France support Serbia? France would need to declare war on Austria-Hungary and Germany, which may draw Italy into the war. This is like my other video, but way worse for the Entente. I personally don't think World War I would even happen in this timeline, at least not in 1914 or even in the 1910s at all. And if it did, Italy would probably be neutral in it. However, let's take a look at the possible teams in Russia, the no commentary bit of the video. Anyways, back to the Central Powers and Entente, I also believe that World War I would be postponed by the weakness of the British and French, and because Germany is trying to secure their eastern gains. Maybe an alternate World War I happens in the 1920s or at least not 1914. Whoever manages to take power in Russia must now realize that they have indirectly caused the start of a possibly German century. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Like I said earlier, sorry about the delay. Remember to check the polls and Henry White out.